I always want to look at.
Hey guys, happy Friday to you. Hope you're looking forward to the weekend. Welcome to the You Are Worthy Network. My name is Steve Wormer. You probably know that already, but I'm your host if this is your first time listening in. And we're super grateful if it's your first time listening in or whether you've listened to all of them or a few of the interviews. We're grateful for all of you. And this is a safe place. This is a place where hopefully this community gives you just a little shot of encouragement and hope. No matter where you're at on your journey, we'd love to interview entrepreneurs, leaders, human interest stories, stories of overcoming. And we love talking about all the amazing things that they do in this world. But I hope you've noticed we also talk about what they've overcome because that's what makes us relatable, right? We want someone that has been through the fire like we have and they've come out through the other side and they're not afraid to be vulnerable to share that with all of us, right? That's what we're looking for, some inspiration, right? And that's what we try our best to do here. And I have no doubt that you're going to experience that through our special guest story today. With that said, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sarah. Sarah Faulkner is a speaker, author, and the founder of Milk Velvet Pearls, a brand she created to share her testimony of faith and the belief that God forms beauty through life's hardest places. What began as a message she shared through her jewelry would soon be tested in her own life. Years into building her business, Sarah suffered a catastrophic brain hemorrhage that doctors said she would not survive. What followed was intense suffering and a long recovery, an undeniable trial of everything she believed. In that place of breaking, her faith proved true. She discovered her worth was never tied to her performance, but in her identity in Christ as a precious child of God. Today, she shares that hard won truth with others, helping them rise above adversity, renew their minds, and trust that what feels like breaking may be the very place where something beautiful begins. I also love this quote by Sarah: your greatest struggle can become your greatest gift. I love that. Sarah, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you so much. That introduction just sounds like a movie trailer. Like you just, you got a great voice. Thanks for a wonderful introduction.
People tell me that it's always a little different on the receiving end of hearing somebody say that. Would that make you feel when I was reading
It
that?
was exciting for me. I'm like, wow, like, yeah, I got a great story.
Mm.
God's given me a really great life.
Yeah, it is an amazing testimony that he's given you, and it's yours to share with the world, and you get to share that here today. And I pray and hope that many people will hear this and be impacted by it, and I trust that they will. Sarah, tell us what one of the I tell people this all the time. One of the amazing benefits of having started this now 8 months ago is we get close to 13,000 people. Is people will listen all around the world. So tell us what corner of the world you're in.
I'm in the Tampa Bay area on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
And has that been home for a long, long time?
I have been here 28 years. I actually grew up in Vermont in a little small town on the Canadian border in Lake Champlain. And I went to school in Colorado and then I worked in Michigan, but Florida is my home now.
I have been to, I used to know this number. It's definitely over 30 states.
Oh,
It's
wow.
probably closer to 40. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I have to do that exercise. But Vermont is one I've not been to.
Oh, you got to go there someday.
I've heard it's beautiful.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a big culture difference between Vermont and Florida, right?
Uh-huh, yeah. And then when I was going to school in Colorado, that was a big culture difference too. It
Yeah.
just, I went to the University of Colorado. There was 36,000 students there. I mean, that was 6 times the size of the town that I grew up in. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, okay, so the Tampa area, and tell us, who do you do life with? Tell us about your family.
Well, my kids are grown now. I have a 29-year-old son and a 21-year-old daughter, and they have both moved out of state. My husband recently retired, so we are doing the whole empty nest thing, and we are just loving this new chapter of life. We travel a lot. We just have developed a beautiful rhythm. It's a lot of working and a lot of resting and a lot of cooking together, and it's just really lovely.
I'd love to hear that. I still have a few years left before that happens. My youngest is going into his sophomore year. Um, so I can see it, but I got to be patient. And we're not in any rush. We have one already out of the house, and we've got the two boys still in the house, and we're still enjoying them very, very much. But yeah, I'll be calling you to see how empty nester life goes and what I can learn
Well,
because
it's shocking at the beginning. At the beginning, it's very hard, but it after about 6 months, you're like, oh, okay. This is quite nice, actually.
yeah, I would imagine. So you said you guys like to travel. What were some of the places you guys like to go?
So we've been to a lot of cities all around the United States. We traveled for my husband's business conferences twice a year. And then we've done a lot of traveling in Europe. We really like Europe. And then during COVID, we started hiking and going to national parks. And so we really like that too. We go glamping, we go hiking, yeah, we try to get out and get with the local culture and just expand our minds, expand everything.
I like it. So do you guys have a trailer?
No, we don't have a trailer. We usually tent. Or we've been staying in yurts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fun.
Okay. We won't camp on this too long, but like, are you like the parks you've been to? Give me two of your favorites.
Well, so we have gone back to Zion National Park twice because we loved it so much. And we were determined to hike Angel's Landing, which is one of the scariest hikes in America. The first time we didn't get past the chain section, but the second time we got all the way to the top. And
Wow.
so, yeah, and then there's Bryce Canyon. Um, we do a lot in the Southwest. My husband's from Arizona, so we like to do the Grand Canyon and those areas around there.
Okay, so you guys are serious hikers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
no messing around with you guys.
No messing around. Now I want to do
Okay,
Yosemite. I want to do Half Dome. Yeah. But
okay, I love it. I love
okay.
it. Um, so tell us about this business of yours that's still thriving today that you started, goodness, over a decade ago, 2014. Tell us why you started it. Tell us what it is and how it's helping people.
All right. Well, let's see. My background is in construction and engineering, and I was working in that field with my husband. And then I went through a really hard time. And up until that point, I had believed in God, but I was really pretty indifferent to Jesus. And I surrendered in that time of hardship. I was invited to a Bible study. And then I went to a few more Bible studies. And then I realized after about 9 months or so that my life had been made beautiful, that I had new hope, strength, and beauty that I had never had before. And I just really wanted to tell people. I just felt if they knew what God had done for me, they would have no more questions. And so I tried for a couple of years to tell people about it, to write a book, but every time I tried to talk about it, I would cry, like ugly crying. And then I had an epiphany one day that my life was like a pearl, made beautiful through the struggle. And so I just decided that I would start a pearl jewelry company and make modern, casual, chic jewelry that could be worn every day as a reminder to trust God's timing and to believe that all things are working for good. And so that was 2014. I launched it on Mother's Day, and the response was overwhelming.
Wow. So is the business both brick and mortar and online?
Uh, I was no. The answer is no. I do everything online.
Okay.
I'm or I sell online through my website, and then I make everything in my home studio. I was pursuing wholesale accounts and in different boutiques around town, but that just got to be too much for me because I do make each piece by hand myself.
Okay. You still today make each piece by hand.
Yes,
That's
I
amazing.
I do it all. I design them, I make them, I ship them, I do all the graphics, I do all the marketing, I do all the writing, I do all the it's a labor of love.
That's amazing. But you were even doing that when the kids were there, right?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Wow, that's
When the kids
amazing.
were here, it was helpful because I could get them to sh like string the little beads and the things that are hard for me to see. I could get them to help me with that.
Oh my goodness, that's
I
amazing.
I miss them.
Um, in more than one way, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I'll ask you a little later how people can learn more about the business and find it for sure. So you're loving the business. You've got it launched on Mother's Day of 2014. Tell us how the business and the product helps those that purchase it.
People have told me that it helps them to feel closer to God. I mean, that's the best compliment I've ever gotten. People say that it helps them to increase their faith, um, which I mean, that's just the greatest compliment to me. And it's what I have been pouring my heart and soul into. And so I'm glad that it's resonating that way with people.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a higher compliment than that.
Right? Yeah. Mhm.
That's amazing. So you're living life, you're loving your business. Um, you're loving being married, you love your family, your kids are still at home, or at least I think they're at home. I'm trying to bring you up to a few years later. So tell us about the year 2019 because 2000, I think I got the year right. 2019 changed your life and your family's life forever. Would that be accurate?
That's accurate. That's accurate. I'm going to back you up just a little bit though,
Okay.
because I just want people to know that this jewelry business that I started to help other people, I think was God's plan to help me because I was going to go through some more hard times. I went through some more hard times, and the whole time I was thinking, I got to walk my talk. I got to pray. I have to believe everything is working out for my good. I can trust God's timing. And so I learned to pray. I wore my own jewelry to remind myself. And in 2019, I had just come through another really, really hard time in my life. And I wrote that morning, it was October 7th, 2019. I wrote that morning in my journal, God, use me. Use me for your glory and your purpose and your will. And I was imagining like getting famous on Instagram or getting a big giant jewelry order. And what happened to me instead was I had a brain aneurysm rupture. I hemorrhaged for 5 days. When I got to the hospital, finally, they saw the blood on the brain. My brain tissue was in vasospasm, which meant it was beginning to die. I had emergency surgery. I spent 21 days in the neurocritical care unit and then months with the most excruciating headache and nausea, relearning how to live my life over again. But my neurosurgeon, he would tell me almost every day when I was in the CCICU that people don't live through what I lived through. And I know it was because I prayed. I prayed when it happened. I prayed afterwards. I prayed in the hospital until I was unconscious. I prayed. I prayed when I got home. I prayed through recovery. And I just feel like the miracle is the power of prayer. It's the power of God. It's just the power of faith. It really is. There's no other explanation.
Oh my goodness. And obviously I'm aware of your story because we've talked before, but I'm trying to, well, I can't, but I'm trying to put myself in that situation. I'm trying to put myself even as an observer of that situation. It's hard to fathom. Like, you hemorrhaged for 5 days, like at home.
Yeah.
I mean, can you
Yeah.
describe what that felt like? I mean, that's just, I can't imagine.
People always assume when I say I hemorrhaged for 5 days that it wasn't that bad, or maybe I didn't know what was going on, but that is absolutely not the way it was. It felt like it happened when I was in the shower, and it felt like a professional baseball player just took a bat and hit me in the back of the head. There was an audible crack that happened inside my head, and then it was just blinding, excruciating pain. It was me losing vision. It was starting to vomit. It was me vomiting. The vomiting was making the head pain worse. The head pain was making the vomiting worse. I just felt like something was trying to kill me. And so I prayed. Submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and the devil would flee. And every time I prayed that, it would diminish, the pain would diminish just the teeniest, tiniest amount. And I was able to make my way to the counter in the bathroom where my phone was, because I called my husband and said, I think I just had a brain aneurysm or something. You need to come home. And then I laid down on the floor. His office is 45 minutes away on a good traffic day.
Mm.
Um, and he had never heard of a brain aneurysm before. And so when he came home, he just saw me vomiting and he assumed I had food poisoning. And he
Mm.
said, honey, if I take you to the emergency room, you're probably going to have to wait a couple hours. Why don't you just clean up and get into bed? And even though I didn't have the brain power to advocate for myself and to tell him what had happened, I had enough brain power to look in the mirror to see how awful I looked and to say, oh, yeah, okay, let me just get into bed. So I got into bed and I went in and out of consciousness in bed. I would pray during the pain. And then I've been doing the stay-at-home mom thing. He leaves early in the morning and comes home late at night. And so each afternoon I had to go get my daughter at school. And I would pray. And then I would drive across Clearwater, Florida, and pick up my daughter at school. And I did that all week until Friday. I would stay in bed all day and pray, and then I'd go pick up my daughter at school, and then I'd come back and pray again until Friday when I just couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything anymore.
You you talk about sustaining grace. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
I mean, you're basically praying and sleeping.
Uh-huh. And
Praying,
vomiting.
sleeping, and picking up your daughter.
Uh-huh. And vomiting.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Wow. So what specifically became the catalyst that I need to get some care here?
Well, I had a chiropractor appointment on Friday afternoon, and I called my husband. I said, I can't drive. Can you pick up Maddie at school? Can you drive me to this appointment? And so I walked into my appointment. The doctor met me in the lobby. He took one look at me and said, I'm not touching you. Turn around, go to the ER. You look like you have spinal meningitis or something. And so we did. We went to the ER. They got me right in. They did a CT scan. They saw all the blood on the brain and they just bang, 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 put me in an ambulance, sent me to a different hospital for emergency surgery. And then I spent 21 days in the CCICU.
Oh my goodness. So the actual surgery was effective, right?
Yes.
But the recovery, 3 weeks.
Oh, the recovery was months.
Well, I'm talking about after you. I'm talking about in the hospital, in the intensive
Oh
care.
yeah,
You were there for 3 weeks.
I was 21 days in the CCICU, and then during that time I wasn't allowed to drink a sip of water because they were trying to manage the electrolytes in my brain, and I had to promise that I wouldn't drink water for 7 more days when I got home. So
Oof,
it
oof.
was 28 days of no water, nausea, world's worst headache, absolutely no pain relief because you can't do any kind of pain relievers when you have a neurological event like that. So it was just excruciating. It was excruciating.
Oh my goodness. So you eventually, after that 21 days, you get home. But like you said, there's still recovery. I mean, there's
Yeah.
was there PT and OT needed?
I didn't have anybody come to the house, but I did have to practice like using my hands. I couldn't like use scissors. It was hard to use a hair dryer. It was hard to do things with my hands. It was hard to read. It was hard to follow conversations. It was hard to listen to people. It hurt every time I thought a thought. I was very, very tired. I didn't have much energy. Just the simplest things felt like Olympic events. I was very afraid because it had happened out of nowhere with absolutely no warning. And so I was afraid to go in the bathroom. Like the bathroom had anything to do with it. But
Yeah, I can see that actually.
yeah. I was afraid to be by myself. I didn't realize it, but there was a comfort, I guess, in being in the hospital, even though I just wanted to get out of there. When I came home, I was afraid that something would happen and there would be no one here to
Mm.
help. And then it would just be done for.
That's I would think that's pretty common.
It is.
Uh,
Mhm. Yeah.
Especially when you're all alone, like, when's the next shoe going to drop type thing, and
Yeah.
you spend enough time in that bathroom, is that going to be where it happens again? I can see that fear for sure.
And then I went through a period of depression, which is also very common after a long hospital stay. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So your speech wasn't impacted at all.
Um, I guess not. I guess not.
I guess I'm
It
more
was
thinking it
more
was.
like it was more like memory and processing speed and coordination, but I had no permanent deficits, I guess. No permanent injury. I know. I know.
Praise God.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, when I walked out of the hospital, they brought me down in a wheelchair, but then I wasn't on a respirator, I wasn't on a ventilator, I wasn't in a wheelchair. I walked out of there.
Okay. So, I
He can do
mean,
the impossible. He really can do the impossible.
oh, without a doubt. I mean, he made the sun stand still, right?
Mhm.
I mean, he's the one that orders it out every morning anyway. But
Yeah.
it's when you're the recipient. of a miracle like that, that takes your faith and testimony to a whole nother level that most of us haven't experienced.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a remarkable. So, all right, you're getting therapy. You're trying to get back into some semblance of normalcy in your home. I'm sure it took a while, but like I almost hate to transition. But tell us what that transition looked like. Like at some point you had to, okay, I'm well enough now. I need to take another look at my business and how that's been doing, right?
Um,
Or is it a
no.
different mindset altogether?
Yeah, no. I really didn't care about my business at all. Um, I started neurocognitive rehab that was 3 times a week for an hour each time, and that was exhausting.
Hmm.
That was exhausting. Just staying awake and like trying to do normal living activities was exhausting, but I was so thankful to be alive. I was so thankful that I had seen Jesus. I was so thankful that in my experience, I had just felt the greatest wash of love and peace and worthiness like I had never known before. I experienced his power in my weakness that I just really started spending hours and hours and hours in prayer. I I would pray most days 2 or 3 hours in the morning,
Huh.
every morning. And so, I mean, I couldn't do anything else anyway. And and that was just really, really lovely. It helped me, it strengthened me. And then we got into COVID, where everything was basically shut down anyway. I had a couple
Hmm.
jewelry orders come in, and I was filling them. But when COVID hit, like the jewelry orders really kind of quit. And then, and then I had to go back for a check to make sure everything was okay. And they saw that the aneurysm had grown back and that it was bigger than the first time.
No.
And so, yeah.
This is in 2020?
Yeah, maybe I didn't tell you that before, but yeah, it came back.
Well, I've got a pretty good memory, but no, I don't. Wow.
And so then I had to have a second surgery during COVID.
Tell us about that. My goodness.
Well, I had been saying for all of these months that I couldn't go through it again, that if it ever happened to me again, that I wasn't gonna fight it. I was just gonna let myself die because the pain was just so great. Um,
Hmm.
And then over the course of the 7 days leading up to the surgery, I spent the first but 3 or 4 days just telling God, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't, I can't do this. I can't do this pain. And then I had a thought like, he's gotten me through. He has gotten me through. He has given me a gift. How about if I trust him now? And if he wants me to have another rupture and he wants me to have a stroke and he wants me to live as a vegetable, I will do that. And so I decided that I was going to trust him. Of course, I was praying madly. I had a Facebook group that a friend started for me, and there was about 100 people in that Facebook group, and they were praying for my doctor by name, they were praying for me by name, they were praying for my surgery, and I just came through that surgery with flying colors, absolute flying colors. And then the surgeon called my husband afterwards and told him that it was easier than he thought it was going to be. And just since then, I have gone back and have had a couple of rechecks. My artery is 100% completely healed. All my brain processing speeds and working memory speeds and all of that, they're better than non-brain injury patients now. It's just been miraculous. What God has done and what He has taught me, the gifts that He's given to me through this experience are just like, I just can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop talking about it. I spent so many years of my life carrying pain, being in pain, and this was available to me all along. It's available to all of us.
I almost speechless. Um, thank you, Father. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that 6 years later, your zeal and gratitude are still way, way up here. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the other day, I thought that I would never, ever forget the pain. And you know what? I think I'm starting to forget the pain now. Like, he brought me through it. He brought me through and he's done so much. I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I can
Mm,
do anything. I feel like I'm not afraid of anything. Um, I just feel like I have been validated and
yeah.
I have nothing to be afraid of. There's this,
Oh,
what is it in Philippians? To live is Christ, to die is gain.
okay.
That's
Mhm.
how I feel. Like I have Christ in my daily life, and when I'm not living, I'm going to be in eternity with him. And so it's win-win everywhere.
I mean, Jesus told his disciples before he, went away, he said, "You will go on to do even greater things than I." And that's blow away for all of us, but he wouldn't say it
Right,
if it wasn't true.
right.
So it challenges us like everything that Jesus said. It challenges our faith. But like you, and I know you're human, right? But like you believe that because you've already seen the miracles in your body, in your brain that he has healed. And so do you have to go back every year?
Not anymore. Not anymore. It was
Wow.
every 6 months, and then it was every year, and then it was every 2 years, and now it's every 5 years. So I don't go back until 2030 or 2031. I don't
Praise
know. Some
God.
space age, I go back.
Praise God. So tell us a couple of the ways that you were using this testimony to advance the kingdom.
Okay. Well, I started out using pearls as kind of a quiet symbolism of beauty born from struggle, hoping that people would be able to feel his grace in them. Now I am speaking out loud to everyone, to anyone who will listen, um, the hope that we have, how he can do the impossible, that his grace really is sufficient, that he's already given us everything that we need in the Bible. I just think the Bible is the greatest life coaching tool on planet Earth. I'm working on a memoir that is going to spell out in more detail a lot of the scenes of this story. What else am I doing? I'm
Mm,
getting into
that's
public
that
speaking. I want to host workshops. I'm writing a devotional. I'm working on a workbook. I kind of get ahead of myself and all the things that I want to do, but yeah, I I'm slowly making my way and trying to stay committed so that I can finish and do things in order.
I love all of those steps. And I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure I'll speak for many that hear your story. They can't wait. to pick up that book.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's going to be so incredible. So, what's, you gave us a little taste, but when you start writing and speaking and doing more podcast, does the business continue?
Well, that's what I need to figure out. Because what I have learned through this journey is that I used to be a workaholic. I used to be a workaholic. I used to treat myself like a machine. And I learned through this journey that I need to treat myself as a precious object, that life is miraculous, and that loving God and loving others is the most important thing for me to do in my life. And so while I do have this work and this book and all of these things that I want to do, the most important things to me are spending time with God and loving my husband and loving my family and taking care of my health. And so I am trying to do my work, keeping all those other priorities at the top of the list, and then figuring out how I can hire help to support myself and to grow holistically, organically, and keep just keep the quality. I want to keep the quality of everything.
I love that, what you just shared. It'll get tested the busier you get, and some of these new goals that you have that will get tested. But having that conviction deep down in your heart that God's first, your marriage, then your family, and then any other projects, um, that will ground you, that will anchor you exactly where you need to be. And that you won't be perfect at it, but it'll help you with your boundaries and people pleasing and performance based that we can all succumb to at times. Sounds like you've already experienced a lot of that.
I
That's how
experience it on a daily basis.
yeah, it's amazing. Tell folks where they can find you, learn more about you. And then tell us where the status of the book is. Have you started writing it yet?
Okay, so my website is called milkvelvetpearls.com. I have a Facebook page, Milk Velvet Pearls. And then you can find my email, all my social media handles through my website. I'm also on LinkedIn. Um, what else? And then the status of the book. So I have written, I'm currently on my sixth draft of the manuscript. I have changed what do I want to say? Storyline. I've changed the storyline just recently, and I feel like it's so much better than it was. I really want it to be the first part is my story and what happened, but the second part is how you can apply the tools that I learned to your own life. Because I want people to be able to apply it to their own lives so that they can experience some of what I've experienced.
Mhm.
Um, I sure hope that I can get it out this year in 2016. I'm a little behind schedule because I wanted it out in 2024. I just found out that writing a book is a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. But it is underway and it is going to happen. Um, and I just thank everybody who's been encouraging me and supporting me and asking, hey, where is it? Because that's
You got
helpful.
this. You got this. It does take a team and a close circle of supporters to help you achieve your goals. And we'll make sure we have all your links in the show notes after the interview also. Um, so Sarah, I want to, before we close out, I want to thank you for being so willing to share vulnerably. Your resilience comes shining through. Your love of God is evident. Your love for your family is crystal clear, and it's obvious. I would say it's obvious to anybody that's going to watch this that you have a heart of gratitude and just simply want to give back to God out of that gratitude for the miracles He's done in your life, and I love that. Somebody that's watching this that may be struggling in various ways. They're looking for a little bit of hope today. They're looking for a little shot of encouragement just to get them through this Friday afternoon. Any words of encouragement?
If you have just the slightest little inkling inside you that maybe God is real or you want him to be real, Jesus said if you have a mustard seed of faith, that's all you need. That's really all you need. There were times when that is all I had left, and that was enough. You just need a mustard seed.
You just need a mustard seed.
That's all. You just need a little bit. He can work with a little bit.
You know, that passage, I think it's Matthew 17:20, if I'm not mistaken, um, talks about that God will move the mountain. And I like to say about that passage that I don't have the power to move the mountain, but if I have a mustard seed of faith, my prayers can move God to move the mountain.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
so I like to praise him in advance for any mountains that he's going to move in your life, my life, and those of you that are watching today, your life as well. Sarah, you're remarkable. I am so grateful that we've met. I'm so grateful for your testimony and what you're doing with it. And I can't wait to see what God does with you next. Thank you for sharing your gift with us a little, just for a little while today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
Guys, I don't know how many interviews I've done since last August, but you hear me say in almost every one of them, if not every one of them, your story's not over yet.
Yeah.
And usually we have a guest on something in their life. It was an organic way for me just to cross that bridge, something that happened in their life to say, you know what, your story's not over yet either, because theirs wasn't. But if there was ever a guest that's crystal clear, it's true, it's Sarah. She didn't even maybe know the totality of it. She was fighting for her life for a week. But God wasn't done with her story yet. He sustained her for more. What is he sustaining you for more? I hope that keeps you hanging on. You're worthy. Your story's not over yet. I appreciate each one of you. God bless. Take care.